feed students' minds with effective feedback. Studies show that 70 to 80% more learning occurs when effective feedback takes place throughout students' learning. As you can see in the graph, the feedback falls between that 70 and 80% range. I'll be talking about 4 different types of feedback. The first feedback strategy is success feedback. This occurs when students need to know what they are doing right or what they are doing well. This helps to relate to relative success in the classroom. On a different note, there's also corrective feedback. Students use corrective feedback in what they can act on in a given time period. On a different note from this, studies show that using peers as feedback benefits all students' learning and helps work toward that goal. And it really helps to narrow the achievement gap in students' learning. Last, intervention feedback helps to identify areas in need of improvement. This provides information to students so they can understand what their next step is in the process of learning. There are several different descriptors that help to define what effective feedback is. The first one is goal reference. Goal reference gives students a reason or a goal of what they are wanting to do or work toward. All of this relates back toward that goal. The goal needs to be tangible and transparent, and this tangible and transparent feedback needs to relate back to that goal and provide an extension to their learning and understanding of what they're already doing. Along with this, the feedback needs to be descriptive and provide specific examples and use specific language to help students understand their goal. And along with this, it also needs to be actionable with concrete, specific, useful examples of what they could do more or less of. And it also needs to be user-friendly. It needs to be in a language that these students can understand, or it's not going to benefit them if they cannot understand the terminology being used. It also needs to be timely. The sooner the better. Use strategies to incorporate timely feedback such as peers, as talked about before, or even technology to use timely feedback. Along with this, it needs to be ongoing. Consistent feedback throughout units of learning is key for students' learning and progression toward their goal. It also helps students to learn from their errors. Along with this, it also needs to be consistent. Not only ongoing, it needs to be consistent. Everybody needs to be on the same page and stick to the high quality standards that were set for the learning. Lastly, it always needs to progress toward the goal, as stated before. This feedback needs to be progressed toward the long-term goal at the end of the unit that the students are working toward. Working toward goals and feedback always has barriers. To get out of old habits of little to no feedback used in the classroom, you need to break this barrier and help students achieve their overall learning by using effective feedback. Well, some might say there's no time. Time is needed for effective feedback in the classroom so learning can occur. If there's no time, then there's no learning. There are many ways you can use effective feedback in the classroom. For example, small group, whole group, classwork, quizzes, tests. You can do it informally, use technology, use the peers, or even use it during projects. Along with this, you can also use picture cues that help the students benefit to connect to how they're using your feedback. And also it helps those low-level learners and also helps the English language learners to understand the feedback better. Overall, effective feedback is key to students' learning, and it's time to start implementing effective feedback now in the classroom before it becomes too late. The ultimate goal is for the students to learn and progress toward that overall learning goal. In order to do this, effective feedback is key to their learning.